Hey everyone, Soccer Bro here. I'm back with another video for you guys. If I sound a lot better than I did in my last video, is because I'm almost fully better. I'm still not feeling well, and I'm also burnt. So mind you, I'm also gonna move this a little bit closer. So yeah, don't mind being so close to my face. But yeah, if you haven't watched my other video, I started a small business, and I want to get that out of the way first. I make necklaces and charms and stuff like that. So you can buy the charms as is, or you can buy it as a full necklace. I'm also doing seashell necklaces too, but I also lost most of my seashells because my dad is an idiot and broke them all on purpose. And he likes to literally take and break all my stuff anyways. He likes to take or hide my stuff too if he's not breaking it. But this is not the part of it. This is not the point of the video. This is an important story time. But for those of you who follow my TikTok, you probably have already seen at least some of the issues. Some of the episodes that I already made of this story anyways, but they didn't come out good because I could only record for 3 minutes. This is going to probably be a very long video, so I apologize for that ahead of time. And before we fully get into that, if you are interested in anything that I make for jewelry and stuff like that, watch my last video and go check out my other social platforms because there's more information about that. Anyways, we're going to go into the video because I can't deny that anymore because I already had to record this video many times because either if it was too long or I just straight up messed up because I just did not feel like editing because I've been tired and stressed out, so I'm gonna be all over the place too because my ADD has been coming out more, which makes a lot of sense because I've been lazy as hell. Not on purpose, it's just something that happens, and I've been tired because I've been sick and I couldn't really sleep last night because my arthritis was affecting me, so it was in the palm of my hand going down my arm with both arms, and then it switches to my legs, and I was great, because I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, and technically I am diagnosed with it, and my mom has the same problem. It used to be worse when I was a kid though, by a lot. It just sucks whenever it activates, and most of the time it activates on hot nights too, most of the time during this time of the year, which sucks. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so into the story time. So this story goes back to when I was 16 years old. It starts when I was 16 years old. I was a sophomore in high school. I stayed back. That is why I was 16 in my sophomore year. And everything. So I was always older than everybody that I knew most of the time. And when I was a sophomore, I did part day in my regular high school, and then also in a trade school, okay? And I did explore tourism, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up in landscaping, as most of you already know. I was also a part of FFA, which is kind of a part of this, and it's also not a part of this. But, I miss being an FFA member. I loved it so much. I loved it so much. And if you don't know what FFA is, it's Future Farmers of America, and it is a fun actual program to be in, and everything else. I even love the uniforms, not just because the coats were blue, but they were also uncomfortable, but I still like the outfit regardless. Anyways, so when I came into landscaping, I was not expecting how everything was going to turn out in the first place, which should explain a lot. So I met one of my ex-friends there, and we also had a close friend that is still around with me to this day, but we don't really talk technically. And if we do, it's just a little bit, but it's fine for me anyway. It's fine for me anyways, because sometimes that happens. So it's like, I felt more comfortable with that friend than I ever did with my ex-friend. And I'm fully glad he's gone. I'm fully glad he's gone. Hallelujah, I'm glad he's gone. Because, there's a lot of reasons. So I'm going to bring in the fact. So listen, okay, so reach out. Reach out to me, to everybody. I have a lot of people who watch my videos who have ADHD, or they also have ADD, which is the inattentive type of ADHD. Reach out to me, because this is also about us. So, Foxy just keeps falling over. Oh. Damn. He's here for more support. He's here for more support. I needed this. I need the plushie. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because just because you have ADHD or ADD, or even if you're autistic, it does not give you an excuse to go over boundaries, regardless if you have trouble understanding or not. Because yes, I fully understand it. I am diagnosed with ADD, so I can say all of this because I'm diagnosed. So therefore I'm not an asshole, okay? It doesn't give you an excuse to, like, be handsy with people just because you don't understand healthy boundaries. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? And if you're one of the people who uses that card, be like, oh, I have ADHD, or oh, I'm autistic, so I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Because there's some people who are being, like, straight up direct, and they say that they don't like something. Don't, like, go around and continue doing what they literally just told you not to do. Because I also have another ex-friend that I'm not friends with anymore recently, because we ended our friend relationship. I was about to say relationship because that would, oh god. And I'm not saying any names, but there's no names for privacy reasons. And the thing is, my ex-friend, this ex-friend, the one that I ended my friendship with recently, basically like a month ago, he was autistic, and there'd be a lot of times where we would have miscommunication, and he was also similar to the ex-friend that I'm talking about in this video, besides, like, the other story, but this is a side rant. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he's autistic, and he's not fully, if you were able to talk to him like normally, you wouldn't really get that he is autistic, okay? Because I have a cousin who is autistic, and he can't even speak properly. All he can do is just communicate with, like, noises and stuff like that. And if he can talk, it's only like a little bit. And I love my little baby cousin, basically, because he is the sweetest, but he doesn't, even with him being that far on the autism spectrum, further than my ex-friend, and I explained that to my ex-friend, he was able to understand boundaries regardless of how far he was. He was able to understand that. And my ex-friend, no matter how many times that I told him that our friendship was over, he just randomly just comes back and starts messaging me and acting like we're best friends out of literally, like, nowhere. I'm like, do you now remember the conversation that we literally had, like, a couple days ago, that we're not friends anymore? He's like, no, what? I didn't understand. And he had a new phone, so, like, at first, I was like, who in the heck is texting me in the first place? It was him, and I literally had to ask one of my other ex-friends that I'm also not friends with anymore, because I couldn't handle all of that anymore, was literally, I literally had to ask if that was him, and they're like, yes, he just got a new phone and a new number, because he went from, like, having, like, an Android type phone to an iPhone, and he went on a full rant on why he doesn't like them. I'm like, then why get an iPhone? And he's like, that's the only one that I could get. I'm like, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. That ain't true. That ain't true at all. You could have literally gotten like a Google Pixel or some shit. Like, there's other options. Anyway, side rant over, because this video isn't about him, but he also cussed me out that same day, and he said a lot of horrible stuff that he shouldn't have in the first place, and then he was like passive aggressive right after. And I was already going through a lot at that time. I didn't need him really just straight up being an asshole. And technically he also didn't apologize for any of that either. Anyways, and I made a whole TikTok series about that on the day it happened. So I was like crying and then not crying and then crying my eyes out and then not crying. It was bad. Again, anyways, side rant over. So back to my other ex-friend. And mind you, I was 16, and I'm gonna keep saying that. I was 16. This dude stayed back a lot, so he was like in his 20s. So right now he'd be either like 27 or 26. He's either a year older than Alex or not. And if you guys don't know who Alex is basically like my big brother, and he's 25 right now, about to be 26 pretty soon. And I love Alex to death. Alex is the best, and he's not my actual brother. He's just my big brother figure that I straight up adore for a lot of reasons. And he's dating my sister, and he's literally the best though. He's the best. Not like my ex-friend at all. But anyways, I will tell you if I don't like something, and if I don't, usually I'm fine with whatever the heck is going on in the first place if I don't say anything. Or sometimes like I forget to say something, and then like it just keeps being like pushed back too. But like again, I just don't like being smothered due to my sensory issues, which is why I don't wear regular gloves or mittens. Like I have to have like gloves that show your fingers, like fingerless gloves. Those I need because I need at least my fingers to be able to feel and touch stuff. Because I'm also one of the people who like to touch things. Like when me and my friend Noah went to the Union Cemetery in his video, you could see me touching the back of one of the graves. That's an example. I like how he edited the video, but it's just, I don't know. It's funny. I don't want him to mess with that, because it's a good memory, but it's just funny because I didn't know he was actually recording that in the first place. And then for me to see that, I was like, oh god. Oh god. Whew. Okay, back on track. Back on track. So, like literally, I need a sip. So, there goes my voice again. I'm back to normal. So basically, sorry, my ADD is acting up because I'm stressed out, I'm tired, and I don't have any coffee on me to help me not feel dead. So, basically, I literally met my ex-friend, and he would always be like smothering me. He would like be rubbing my back, which I didn't like either, or trying to like rub my shoulders. I was like, please stop. Again, it would be fine if like that was like a once in a while thing. But the reason why I didn't like it is because I knew why he was doing it. Well, that, and again, like he was just always having like, he was always taking like an excuse to touch me, and I don't like that. Because he was smothering me. That's the reason. And also he was way older too, so that kind of made it worse at that point. Because again, mind you, like I was like, again, I was 16. This dude was like way older, despite being in high school still. And like, it wasn't only the reason, like, listen, it's a whole thing, because, like, I'm trying so hard. So, and then he would be hugging me constantly, or being like, where's my hug? So he would basically force me to hug him, and I didn't like that, because, listen, I like hugging people, but I also don't like hugging people. It really, like, depends on who it is. It really depends on who it is. Like, if I initiate, if I go or ask for a hug, that's different. That means that I actually like hugging you or being around you. That's the point. If I don't, it doesn't always mean that I don't like you, okay? It just means, like, I just don't want to be touched at that point, so. And I do like hugging, because I hug my best friend Sarah often, too, but I also don't see her much. So, like, also, mind you, I've known Sarah since we were in 3rd grade, as I've said in a couple of my other videos. I've known Sarah for a long time, so it's easier for me to literally give Sarah affection, because I know that she's not going to yell at me or anything. Another reason why I don't like touching other people a lot of the time is because people used to literally get mad at me whenever I would do it. So that's another reason why I'm, like, always, like, trying not to, like, be touchy or handsy too. Which sometimes it's hard, because sometimes I still do it by accident. Sorry, I need to cough. Whew. And, so yeah, but he, like, no matter how many times I told him to stop doing something, he would just continue, or he would try to force me into something, or persuade me into something. And it was just, like, it was always, like, annoying me. And I used to get, like, always so pissed off with him because of that. And then, again, he would just be, like, always, like, handsy with me, and I didn't like it, like, all over. And I was like, please stop. And again, I would tell him to stop. And sometimes he would get mad at me, and he would yell at me or get into my face. And he would be doing this while in public. But you know what's more fucked up than that? Everybody around me was shipping me and him. And I was like, why? And they're like, oh, well, you guys are cute together when you guys finally get along. I'm like, it doesn't matter. What? I was like, why are you trying to literally, like, ship something that's toxic in the first place? What? My mom liked him. My sister liked him. Alex didn't care in the first place, which is hilarious. Thank you, Alex. My family liked him too, because he did meet the family, because he was at my graduation party, which I fully regret now for a lot of reasons. Anyways, so people would tell us that all the time. I'm like, that makes no sense. But also, like, a lot of people would also ship me with, like, other people in my class. So I was like, why? Why is it somebody's pastime is to ship me with people? It's different if, like, I know you, like, very well, but, like, these were, like, the teachers doing it. And I was like, why are you so interested in my love life in the first place? I was like, what the hell? But there would be sometimes that my other friend, who I'm still friends with to this day, which was friends with him too, he would tell him off if he was, like, getting too much. And sometimes when my ex-friend would get too mad at me, he would literally go out and he would be punching and kicking the lockers, or he would just be, like, running up and down the halls very loudly and just, like, acting like a toddler, basically. And, like, I understand rejection hurts, yes, but acting like that is only gonna make it worse. And also, if you like somebody, or if you're in love with somebody, acting like that is not gonna help you case like at all. It's only gonna make it worse. You're gonna just push people further away than trying to literally graduate them to you, if that makes any sense. And then I was also afraid to literally be alone with him because of how he would be acting too. So, and again, he would act that way because he had ADHD, yes. but he should learn to, like, manage it better, if that makes sense. And I think he took medication too. I'm not fully sure. I don't really remember. But it's not my place to remember. But again, he always kept asking me out, and I kept saying no and I would tell him why straight to his face on why it wouldn't work out. And he did try to change a little bit, but he would always fall back into being like himself in the first place. And like, you shouldn't really change yourself unless you want to. Don't change yourself for somebody else. Unless it's very, like, toxic tendencies, then you should change in the first place, but just saying. Anyways, so time skip, because even time skipping, it'll tell you that, but he would always, like, sit next to me, which would not bother me much if he didn't always, like, invade my personal space and just be handsy with me. I'm like, can you just stop? And again, I told him to stop so many times because I have my reasons why I don't like to be smothered. That'll be like a whole long story time that nobody wants to hear in the first place. But it will be made because it's something that should be talked about, because there's not only people like me like that, like, there's a lot of people who don't like it. Regardless if they have, like, a full reason or they just don't like it, like, specifically. So time skip to the summer of 2021, or at least middle to end summer of 2021. This is gonna get so bad. So, we were in and out of contact, and I never gave this dude my phone number for a lot of reasons. We always talked either on Snap or if it was through, like, Instagram DMs, which also explains why I don't, like, answer some of my Instagram DMs in the first place, because of the trauma of that. Because sometimes it triggers me. But there's some people that I will answer on, like, DMs because, like, I like them too much, so it doesn't bother me as much. But again, it also depends. And so we would be talking on there, and we would hang out a couple times. We went to a couple car shows together. And those were fine because he wasn't overly, like, obsessive about me during those times because our other friend was with us, so it'd be weird. And then we hung out in his room afterwards, so he played Mario Kart and had, like, Chinese food and stuff like that. Like, it was just the three of us in the room and everything, so the only time that he would literally get weird or irritating was literally when our other friend left to either use the bathroom or whatever, and stuff. And also, my ex-friend had a pool, and he would also bring up the fact that I should probably go swimming in it at some point, because I love to swim. That's just, like, an old fact about me in the first place. So I was like, maybe. Which I never did, so thank God. And literally, he would always be, like, flirting with me and stuff like that, and I would have to, like, I would have to literally reject him even more because I'm like, I don't like you that way, though. And I tell him why I don't. Doesn't listen, just keeps going and trying. Like, he was trying to force me into, like, a relationship with him, and I was not comfortable. Because both of our mindsets were different, our beliefs were different, too. And, again, he was just very, like, forceful, and I'm like, great. And so that was also a back and forth in the summer. And then one time we both went to Classic Burger for the anniversary because the Ray of Elvis was playing there. So there's the Ray of Elvis for a concert. For those of you who don't know, and if you haven't seen the Elvis Presley movie review that I did, I am a big fan of oldie music, and I love Elvis so much. I love his music, and I also love his movies. And he's actually a pretty good actor, actually, even though technically most of his movies were basically based off of himself. So technically it wasn't hard for him to be himself, basically. But again, he was like a really good. He could do both. Like Elvis was like a triple threat when he was alive. He was a really good performer, regardless if it was singing or acting. He could literally do both, and we were blessed with that legend, the king of rock and roll, everybody. So yeah, that's why we went. And I was also cosplaying earlier that day because I did my Slytherin cosplay back in the day. So I was basically doing that. So when I got home, I asked him if he wanted to go with me because I just wanted to go see him. My mom was already too tired to go. So henceforth, he brought me. But, like, he made it my fault that we were late because he made it think that it was my fault when we were late because it didn't take me that long because I put witch hazel on my face. I took off my lipstick and reapplied my lipstick. And I just left. I did take down my hair, brush it, and put it up. And then I put my headband, too. But I was still wearing, like, the same clothes and stuff like that. It didn't take me that long because I was ready before it even started because it starts at 5. Always, and he didn't pick me up until like around like 7:19 when it was starting to literally sunset outside, and I was so upset the whole time. Mostly because he was trying to make me think that it was my fault that we were late when that wasn't true, and it was just frustrating. Because he was just sitting there, like, playing on his Nintendo Switch while I was literally sitting out here waiting for him to pick me up, basically. And we live in the same, like, city, so he didn't really have much of an excuse. And, again, like, I was so pissed because of that in the first place as well. It like, again, I really was that pissed. And then I didn't eat anything. He didn't buy me any food. I just sat there just watching him eat. I did have a couple of his fries because I just wanted the fries. He asked me if I wanted anything, but I kept saying no, it's fine. Because one, I felt bad, and two, like I didn't want to eat anything because like I was already upset. So I was like, if I eat anything now, I'm just gonna get sick. So I was like, yeah, probably not. And then afterward, we pulled into a parking lot just to watch like Harry Potter because again, like I was going through my Harry Potter phase at that point. Yeah, I was one of those people. And he kept getting like pissed and angry with me because I kept talking while we were watching the movie because I always do that regardless of who I'm watching whatever with. I always like pause and talk about something while I watch stuff. Like I even do that in the movie theater, but I whisper it. Obviously, I'm not like talking like how I am right now. And it's something that I can't really like turn off, but like I understand it's extremely annoying. So like I understand that, but it also hurts when like people are like mean about it because again, he's known me for a while, so for him to get like that like upset, the audacity for that is just stupid in my point. But sometimes I am quiet when I watch stuff with people. It depends on how bad my ADD is too. Because when I'm going through really bad ADD, like it can be worse than it already is, like literally. And then we ended up FaceTiming our other friend, the same one that I was talking about earlier, and we were talking about it and stuff like that, and we were just chilling around because, like, again, I just didn't want to go home, so we were just waiting out the longest time ever. Until I had to be brought back home, even though my dad wasn't home at all. So I think my mom was home, but I still didn't want to go home anyways. And and he basically told me that he wanted to literally kiss me so bad because of my lipstick and how it looked, because I looked so different. I'm like, so basically, you don't want to kiss me any other time. It's only when I wear lipstick. That's like the only time. I was like, that's one, messed up, and two, please don't. Please don't give in to that because I will literally slap you if you tried. Because again, I didn't like sometimes it could be like a romantic thing to do that, but like in this situation it's not, like, at all. Like, I was literally ready to literally like kick him where it hurts if he tried anything, like, seriously. Because he would always tell me of stuff that he wanted to do, and I'm like, I'm not the type. I'm not the type for this, basically. Like, at all. And he never brought it up again, but, like, again, he just keeps flirting with me and keeps asking me out, and I'm like, I don't want to. And again, he kept trying to pressure me and stuff that I didn't like or didn't want to do in the first place. Because there's a lot of times where I was, like, fully, like, stressed and stuff like that, and he's like, well, why don't you come over and we can just cuddle, it'll help you. And I'm like, no, what? You stress me out even more. And no, I was literally like, no. Because, like, why? Because I'm like, we're only friends. And he's like, well, friends can do that. I'm like, no, they don't. I mean, friends hug and stuff like that, but not that. I was like, no. I was like, no. And that's basically, like, the whole gist of it, because I don't think I'll be able to, like, fully explain what happens, because it's going to take me a long time to fully explain it, if that makes any sense. Because it's already hard enough for me to talk about it, and it's hard to, like, remember stuff when, you know. But that's, like, the gist of it. And we haven't talked since then, so thank God. And I did have to block him because he was kind of stalkery. So I was like, because I would just see him everywhere, and then he would, like, talk to me every time. And I'm like, nah. And then, again, he would always, like, start fights with me or get mad whenever I would, like, reject him and stuff like that. Like, really, really upset. And I'm like, this is one of the reasons why I don't want to be in a relationship with you in the first place, because of how you're acting right now. Like, who would want to be in a relationship with somebody who acts like that whenever they have to say, like, their boundaries or what they're comfortable with or what they like? And yes, relationships do have to go both ways. Like, you have to try to juggle interests regardless if you like the interest or not. Like, you have to show interest in your partner's interests, if that makes any sense. It does to me, that's why I'm saying it. But, like, that's the whole thing of, like, relationship and stuff. He didn't do that. Like, he was more focused on him, which technically does make sense considering he does have ADHD. So sometimes people with ADD, even I act like I'm selfish a lot of the time, but it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. But people see it as selfish, but, like, to us and how our thinking process is, it's not. And then, like, we can't understand why people are upset and unless they bring it up to us, and then we have to, like, explain stuff, which we aren't usually open and direct, but we're also dense as hell. So, but yeah, Foxy was here for moral support, so I could actually get some of this done. Sorry that this was a very long story time, but I just want to make sure that I got, like, everything, which I got most of the pinpoints. And I never brought this up to my mom or my sister because I like the dude so much, and I felt like if I brought it up, because again, even or at least my sister brings it up now. She's like, why didn't you be with so and so? I'm like, we're not bringing this up. I'm like, we're not bringing this up. And then I would say it in, like, the nicest way possible on why it wasn't a thing, and then she would be like, but my sister knows that there is something up that, like, I'm not telling her, though. She can tell, but she doesn't want to, like, push it either, because she also knows how I am when she also does that too. So it's literally like, oh god. And then my mom would just get upset, and then she would probably try to literally murder this dude. So that's another reason why I bring it up to my mom. But also, she did like him, so I was like, yeah, I would rather not shatter their rose-tinted glasses, because, like, my sister already has enough going on, my mom already has enough going on, so I was like, I would rather not them know about it. But then again, my mom would probably watch this video in the first place, but anyways. I'm just saying, it sucks. And again, sorry if this video is long. but it has to be because I have to make sure like I get everything out. So it's probably like one of the longest story times that I've ever done in the longest time. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this happens a lot to women my size, because I'm only 4'11". I'm small. Or it happens to most women in general. Like, this mostly happens to women than it does guys, and it does happen to guys. And some women are like this too. But if somebody brings up, oh, well, they use it as like a victim card, basically, into why, like, they go over boundaries and stuff like that. Some people do, regardless if they're diagnosed or not, which technically, if they are diagnosed, technically you do have to be a little bit more understanding to it, but it's just annoying because it's wrong regardless. But some people do bring up the fact that they have ADHD or if they're autistic and be like, well, that's why I'm having trouble understanding, because sometimes you do have to say it a whole nother way for them to understand it, because sometimes half the time shit doesn't go through to me, but I'm also straight up just dense half the time in the first place. So it's like, yeah, we're incredibly dense though. Most of us are. But like, again, it just sucks, and it doesn't give you a reason to treat people like this either. Please like, comment, subscribe for my other type of content, not this, but I wanted to bring this up because it's a learning curve. And I also made this so that my best friend can watch this and know what not to go through. Because there's no way I want my best friend going through that either. Because there's, no, I don't want anyone else going through this. And if you did go through something like this, I'm sorry you had to in the first place. Because nobody should be able to go through this, like, at all. I'm not even kidding. But, I'll try to literally de-stress after making this video, but this might take a long time for it to go up because it is Monday. And I know that I promised the Izzy Borden video, so I'm going to work on that as this is going up. I'm going to try, but my ADD has been acting up, so I probably won't be able to do much research until later, until like at all. And also, if I don't see you guys in a while, and when I post next, do well. I hope you guys are doing better than me by a lot. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. And sorry I had to literally trauma dump on you guys, but sometimes these topics do have to get up, and this is also part of my job to talk about my experiences too. So just be careful nowadays though. And with that said, peace out guys. Love you all.